All right, well, welcome to class, everybody. Here today to teach you a very specific type of formula. That is the quadratic formula, and it is for a very specific type of problem, i.e. a quadratic problem. And in fact, this formula will solve all of your quadratic problems. Not all your problems, but it'll solve all your problems that are quadratic. I promise you that. Your other problems, not so sure. So there's one catch with the quadratic formula is that your equation, your quadratic equation, has got to equal 0. So we're going to do 3 problems here today, so let's go get it. Here's our first one. What you might notice is that it doesn't equal 0. It equals 5. That don't work for the quadratic formula. The good news is it's really straightforward how you make something equal 0. You just subtract it out, then it equals 0. So let's go get it. Let's minus 5. Minus 5 from both sides. That's going to get me the 0 I desire. And let me go grab my blue marker. Yeah, all these colors, they don't even have blue. All right, so now we go here, we go x squared plus 3x. I subtracted 5, so now I'm at plus 1 is equal to 0. Ta-da! Now I can use me some quadratic formula. I do have the formula here for you. This A, B, and C, what it's referring to is the standard form of a quadratic. So I can write it here. It's really looking for you to get into that situation. So A is the coefficient, kind of a nice word to throw down on people. That's the number that's multiplying by the variable. And we got B is the coefficient of just x by itself without the square. And then C is the constant. So what I've demonstrated over here is typically the way I roll. I put open and close parentheses, and then I make sure to substitute inside those parentheses. I tend to find that I make fewer errors with signs when I do that. Make fewer sign errors. So let's see what we've got. So A is going to be 1, because there's a 1 there. B is 3, and C is positive 1 also. Now this says A, man, I don't know what that is. Come on, people. In this equation, x is the variable. Oh my God, look at that. I'm fixing all kinds of problems. All right, so here we go. We're going to substitute in. So wherever there's a B, right, because the first is, I usually read this as the opposite of B, but you could think about it as negative B. So we're going to put a 3, cash money. All right, here, put the B, there we go. That's A and C and A. All right, so let's see what we're going to be working with here today. So this equals negative 3, right? Minus 3 plus or minus the square root. 3 squared is 9. I see, and sometimes I break out a different color. I do, I'll tell you what. I'm keeping you on your toes. I done told you what. I put the minus sign there. So for me, this isn't a negative 4, it's a positive 4. And that's a subtraction sign. So now I go 4 times 1 times 1 is positive 4. Gangster. All right, under here, over 2. Lovely, I think we're almost done. So let's do another equals here. 9 minus 4 is 5, so we have minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. Now, since the square root of 5, it can't be reduced anymore, we're done. There's 2 answers there, though. There's the plus and the minus, so don't forget that. Beautiful. Let's circle it. And that's the quadratic formula, people. Let's go get another one. Boom. Okay, well, welcome back. I got that all written down for you. Only thing you got to do right now is you got to hit that beautiful pause button. Pause. And just try it on your own. Okay, on pause. Let's go get it. Well, first thing, quadratic formula. Good news is it works on every quadratic, just like the quadrus method does. So we got a nice rugged method here, but we know it has to equal 0. So that's our first check. Oh, come on, this one already does equal 0, Mr. Miller. Come on. Why don't you give us one that doesn't equal 0, but doing you a favor, I guess. So let's just go right to it. Let's figure out A. That's 1. Coefficient there. Okay, so B is going to be -2 because our formula has all pluses. Or it's not a formula, but the structure that gave birth to the formula has both plus signs. So because that's a minus, it's going to be a -2. And C is going to be -15. All right, so now let's substitute. I recommend parentheses, but you do you. You do you. You do what you think you need. That should be our A value and our C value and our A value. All right, we feeling good. Let's go see what we're working with. Negative, negative. So that's going to be +2. And that's like a lot of times for me, I just say that's the opposite of B. So if I got B is negative, holler is positive. All right, let me get my two answers, my plus and minus. Okay, I'm feeling good. Let's bring out that square root sign. -2 squared, feeling good about that. To me, that's a subtraction sign, a takeaway sign. I'm going to bring that takeaway sign. +4 times 1 times -15 is going to be -60, right? Because positive, positive, negative. So I'm going to bring out some parentheses. Put all of that over 2. All right, so let's keep this train going here. I got 40. I'm going to minus a negative. So you minus a negative, that's adding. Remember that anytime you take away negativity, you become more positive. Don't forget that. So let's go get it right down here. So that's going to be 2 plus or minus the square root of 64 over 2. Yes! You can see the skies open up. That's a perfect square. So we're going to have ourselves some integers here today. I'm just going to switch to blue, just a little break of the color here. So we're going to have 2 plus or minus 8 over 2. So the key is you've got two answers here. We've got the plus and the minus, right? So I'm going to go with kind of arrows. So let's do an arrow up and an arrow down. So we have one that's 2 plus 8 divided by 2, which is 5. And then we have 2 minus 8 divided by 2, which is -3. And we are cash money again. That's a beautiful thing. And a lot of times you want to check your answer. You can check your answer here. I'm not going to do it right here today, but you plug it back in and you see if it works. You know, I said I wasn't going to do it, but you know I'm going to do it. You know I'm going to do it. Of course I'm going to do it. Okay, so x squared. So let's just assume x is 5. X squared is 25. If x is 5, that's 10, right? 2 times 5 is 10. Minus 15. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It equals 0. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. That's a Cinderella story right there. You can't beat that. All right. Hey, who knew you could have so much fun with the quadratic formula? Works on everything, just like the quadrus method. All right, I'm going to give you one more. I'm going to unpause and get this one solved. Keep in mind, it's got to equal 0. All right, well, that was the last one there. It was a little bit more challenging because, you know, it got a bigger number of 132, which took a little bit of time to simplify. Anyways, I hope this finds you well. Take care of yourself, and see you around, all right? Hey y'all, Mr. Miller here. I didn't notice this till I went and checked my answer afterwards, but here, you see how that 8 was negative? When I rewrote it, it was positive? That should have been negative. So if you zoom out, so really, because their top and bottom are negative, it would make more sense for me to factor out a minus, because then I have a minus on the top and minus at the bottom. And so these cancel the negative divided by a negative, and so that's actually the answer.